Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Inside Finance television production. Inside Finance, an inside look into the nation's business. Today, we are going to talk a little bit about the business registration. And we're focusing on the Inland Revenue Division. Now, the Inland Revenue Division continues to build relationship with taxpayer as a fundamental factor of what they do, as well as to encourage voluntary compliance. So, basically, looking at ways and means by which we can come together with the taxpayer to enable easy, accessible information and also to be able to help them to be tax compliant, which is what we're really about. And with me in the studio, we have Mr. Joel Johnson, and he is a senior tax inspector. Might I add, a very hard-working tax. Welcome, my dear, to our Inside Finance Television.
Thank you,
production.
thank you. Good day, and thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here as always to talk things pertaining to inland revenue.
Very well. I mean, Inland Revenue just is continues to work hard in order to be able to bring the taxpayer and the division together. So there is no longer taxpayer on one side and Inland Revenue on the other. It's about building a relationship to allow taxpayers to don't feel like they are, restricted from coming in, getting information. Give me a little sense of how is that working out, because that relationship thing, sometimes relationship can be a little bit rocky.
Yeah, indeed, and we understand that. And I think over the years, there has been a wide disparity between taxpayers and the inland revenue. Persons are maybe sometimes scared of the inland revenue. We don't want persons to be scared. Of course, you need to respect the authority, but not to be scared. So over the years, we've been really trying to breach that gap to ensure that we have good communication and we have good levels of dialogue between us and our taxpayers. Hence, a few years ago, we would have established different sections. So we have our large and medium taxpayer unit, and we also have our small and macro taxpayer unit. So these units, they deal specifically with the different segments in our taxpaying population. And we always encourage our taxpayers, if you have any questions, please feel free to call us or contact us. I know quite a few times persons complain about being able to contact us on the phones is because so many persons are calling. But please free to drop an email. We have our email addresses on the website. You can send us an email and we do check the emails and we do respond. So we've been really trying to bridge that gap over the years, and I think we're heading in the right direction.
I'm happy to hear you saying that, because as we look at the registration process for businesses today, we want to be able to help the persons who need this information to be able to have it at hand so that they can save time. And as they say, time is money. So let's talk a little bit about the business registration desk and what are the main functions of this desk.
So at I.R.D, we have a registration section, and of course, as the name implies, their main function is to deal with registration. But registration covers a wide range of topics and issues. Specifically today, we're going to be speaking about the business registration process. At the registration desk, we are responsible for registering businesses and giving them what you call a tax identification number. Now, when you have a certificate, that doesn't mean that your business is registered. Your business is fully registered after you visit Inland Revenue and you have a tax identification number. So, how the process works? All businesses need to understand the process. So, before you go into a business or before you even start a business, you should ensure that you think it through and you plan exactly what you're doing. The first step, the first stage, is to get your business name registered. Why is that important? You want to ensure that you're not trading under a name that already belongs to someone else, because that is an offense. So you need to ensure that the business that you want to do, the name is registered. How do you register the name? You have to go to the Corporate Affairs and Intellectual Property Office, otherwise known as KIPO, located at Mount Welldale in St. George. It's just right along Lucas Street at the entrance to Parliament Building, a big green building. There's a huge sign, you can't miss it. So you go there to register your business name. What they will do a search to ensure that no other business has that name registered already. And if the search comes back okay, then you could get the business name. Now, it's very important to note also the different types of businesses you could register in Grenada. You could register a sole tradership, You could register a partnership, you could have an incorporated company, or you could just have some non-profit organization. The requirements are a bit different. Now, to register a sole tradership or a partnership is very simple. You go to the same office, CAIP Corporate Affairs Intellectual Property Office. They have a prescribed form and a particular format in which you need to fill out that form for them to give them the information that they require, the name that you want for the business, who their partners are, the nature of the business, etc., the date of commencement. Once you give them that information, they will do their research, and once no one has the name, you're going to get a business names registration certificate. That's for sole traders or partnerships. If you are looking to do a company, the incorporation takes a little more time, and it costs a little more for incorporation. Most persons go through their lawyers or maybe accountants to get incorporated at the corporate affairs office. Now, after that stage, once you get that document and your name is registered, that's your business name, your business isn't registered as yet. When you get that certificate, it tells you that your business name is registered. Quite a few persons get confused at this stage, and I think over the years we still have some businesses operating in Grenada even now, and they are of the opinion that the business is registered, not understanding that their name is registered, but they do not have a tax ID, so the business isn't really registered. So what I normally tell persons, if you find you've been operating for years and you never paid any taxes, then obviously you're not registered. Yeah. So ensure that that is done first. You get the name registered, and then after you get the documents from Corporate Affairs Office, then you come to Inland Revenue with copies of those documents. The original documents, we normally encourage businesses to keep your originals for yourselves, but you provide copies for Inland Revenue, a copy of the business names certificate. If it's a company, then we need a copy of the articles of incorporation. If it's a sole trader, then that's just a copy of the statement of particulars. This informs the registration officer who are the rightful owners of that business. If you only bring the business name certificate to Inland Revenue, all we would know is that this is the name of the business. It doesn't give us the information as to who the owners are, what are their addresses, where are they located, and what's the nature of the business. So you must bring all the documents to Inland Revenue so we can start the process. We also have prescribed forms and manners, and of course our forms are available online, so you can always go to our website at ird.gov.gd and download those registration forms. They are there all the time. So if you're registering a company, an incorporated company, then you will have to fill out a form called the non-individual registration form. So that non-individual form requires information on the company, the name of the company, the start dates of the business, where is the company located, etc., the bank account for the company, how many branches does the company operate from. That's the information for companies. Also required if you are registering a company, each director must fill an individual registration form. Of course, the registration officer, when they're trying to register a company, they need to know who are the directors of that company, who is responsible. If there's a particular individual we have to call, who do we call? Who are the owners of that company? So the directors each need to fill out an individual registration form, giving their name, their addresses, email addresses, telephone number, home address, mailing address, etc. Now that's very useful because sometimes you may have a company and the company does not have a fixed line or a contact information. But once we have the director's information, then we could know who to contact if need be.
What are some of the challenges that you face when it comes to businesses or sole tradership that are not registered and you are unable to reach persons when you need them?
Of course, that's a serious challenge with businesses who are operating and we can't reach them. So it might just be an issue where we might need information. It might be an issue where they owe the state. They might be owing the state of Grenada, and that's a serious concern. So you might have a company owing the state of Grenada, but we can't reach the directors. We can't reach any. They don't have a registered office, but you have taxes going up, and that taxes is affecting our records in Inland Revenue, and it's showing on the books that okay, we have so much debt outstanding to collect, but we can't reach them. So it's very important that the registration desk we collect all information needed. So in cases like that, we ensure that we know who to contact, when to contact them, and how to contact them. It's of vital importance that we do this process correct.
When it comes to the registration process, I know somebody told me recently that they pay like thousand and breeze, as we would say, in order to get registered because some persons might go through lawyers, might go through different third parties, and then the person was saying to me, but then once you go to Kaipo, and inland revenue, then the cost is not so much. Can we talk a little bit about that?
I don't want to talk too much of the cost because the costs vary. But if you're doing like a sole tradership by yourself, there's no cost in inland revenue. The cost in Kaipo I think is between $25 and $30. But based on the business that you're doing, you could go to different organizations. The services are provided by paralegals. I know even GIDC offers those services. So once you go to these organizations, they will save you the hassle and they do every single thing for you, and then they just charge you one flat fee. Even for incorporating, if you want to do a company, I think the government charges at Kaipo is just about $1,500. But of course, if you want to write up articles of incorporation and bylaws, the average person can't do those things by themselves. So they will need some sort of legal representation or assistance in writing the articles of incorporation or their bylaws, which is needed. And so the lawyers will charge them a fee for that particular service. So different lawyers may have different fees. Maybe even GIDC, I don't know their fees, but they have different fees. But when you come to inland revenue, of course, we don't charge you. You only pay us something after you operated for over a year, and then you pay your taxes as you're supposed to. So there's no fee for registration at inland revenue.
Very good. I think that's what I was getting at. Well, I know Inland Revenue Division had they had kind of evolved, kind of in the face of COVID. I mean, a lot of things that were in the pipeline, so to speak, were you were able to kind of roll out, so to speak, when it comes to the IT part of it, when it comes to online services and so on. What has COVID affected the registration process in any way?
COVID affected us all. All of Grenadians are affected. I think if it wasn't for COVID, we'd probably be sitting even closer to each other today. But COVID would have affected us. But thankfully, I must say that Inland Revenue, even during the COVID period, sorry, Inland Revenue, I think, performed very well. Because even prior to COVID, Inland Revenue, we had our business continuity plan. So we're basically prepared to operate or continue operations despite whatever may happen. Whether there's a storm or a disaster, Inland Revenue, you could depend on Inland Revenue to be up to collect the government's revenue because business still goes on. So after COVID, Inland Revenue, we were still functioning. For the first few weeks, there were not many persons at the office, but officers were at home functioning. In terms of the registration process, that continued, that never stopped. The officers were at home, they were reviewing applications, they were approving applications. The major change that occurred in the registration process is the part about tax advisories. So before COVID, prior to COVID, every time a business is registered or someone registers a business, we would do what you call a tax advisory for that individual. At one time, it used to be one-on-one advisories, and then we started having group advisories. So would invite maybe 20 business owners who recently registered, and we would have a 1 hour presentation with them where we explain all the tax types, we explain all the obligations as business owners, we explain everything they need to know and how to operate a business in Grenada. So those were done in group sessions. However, because of COVID and we had to socially distance, that method had to change. So we resorted to having some of our one-on-one tax advisory sessions. Of course, the officers now at the office they have the plexiglass between them and the taxpayers, so it's a bit more comfortable when interacting with the public. So we resorted to that. We no longer have the group sessions, and we started planning to have the tax advisory sessions online. So we started doing recorded videos. So eventually, very soon in the future, your tax advisories could just be one click away. After you register your business, you could get your letter and you just go online on YouTube or our website and just look at the video, the tax advisory video, and you would understand all of your business obligations. So I would say COVID would have pushed us in that direction even more, which is where we intended to head, but maybe not so soon. So with COVID, we decided that okay, hey, we need to get there quicker than we anticipated. So we need to step on the gas and get things going. So I think COVID would have affected us maybe in a positive way so far, but well, it has not affected the amount of applications we've seen. I think actually for the last month we've seen even more applications than normal coming in for registration. Of course, not every business that registers will continue operating, but in terms of the application process, I have not seen a reduction since COVID. I think even after COVID now you see more persons trying to get into business with I'm seeing some really innovative ideas I'm excited for Grenada in the years to come. I think COVID would have caused, especially young people, to really sit down and think. I think they had time on their hands home, so they really started thinking about innovative ways to do different things in Grenada. Not just the regular business, you're selling food or you're selling clothes or you're selling shoes. Persons have been coming with new ideas, and I've been looking at these ideas and I'm like, wow, this is really good. I really hope that these businesses kick off and do well, and of course, make more revenue so our coffers can be better.
Sometimes when situations confront us, we have to find a way. Somebody said adversity is the mother of invention. So when things happen, we realize that persons dig deeper to find resources in order to be able to survive. I want to talk a little bit about the unregistered businesses, but let's do that when we come back. We'll take a break. Viewers, we have this is Inside Finance and Inside Look into the Nation's Business. We're speaking with Mr. Joel Johnson of the Inland Revenue Division, and we are speaking about business registration, that process that enables businesses to be registered correctly. So stay with us. We will be right back.
Hey, 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 guess what? Paying your property tax online just got easier. Easier how? Log on to pay.gov.gd. Here's how you go about it. Click Make a Payment. Click Category and select Property Tax. Click Select and choose Property Tax. Insert your tax account number. This can be found on the upper left side of your demand notice just above the property owner's name and address. Insert property owner's last name. Click Continue to move along to the next step. You will see a history of your payment over the years, your arrears if there's any, and your current balance. You have the option to make a part payment or payment in full. If for some reason you believe your tax balance is inaccurate, please do not hesitate to contact us. If your balance is correct, click Continue. On the preview invoice page, you have the option to add another payment if you wish. Click Make Payment. Insert your debit or credit card information. Select your preferred option to receive your receipt, email or cell phone number. Type in the information for the option chosen. Click Continue. To confirm payment, click Pay Now. You will then see a message saying that your receipt has been sent to your selected option. You can also choose to print your receipt and or download it as a PDF file on your device. Once complete, click Done. Easy does it. Fast, easy, and reliable. Pay your property tax by logging on to pay.gov.gd.
Welcome back. In case you've just joined us, I'm Ruth Roberts, and this is our Inside Finance television production. Inside Finance is a television production that takes you into the halls of the Ministry of Finance, really giving you information about what's going on and how it affects you as a citizen. Today we're talking about business registration, and we have Mr. Joel Johnson. He's a senior tax inspector with the Inland Revenue Division, and we've spoken a bit about the process of registration, what you need, how we can register. And we wanted to talk a little bit more about the unregistered businesses. I'm sure you have a challenge in that area. Let's talk a little bit about how you are. What are you putting in place in order to deal with this?
Yeah, well, that has always been a challenge for inland revenue, and I think in any country you would always find persons. You'll find two groups. You'll find persons who willfully try to evade taxes and operate their businesses and not register, and then you will find a few genuine cases of persons who did not know. They're probably thinking, like I said earlier, they registered their business name and they're thinking that their business is fully registered and they're operating. Yes, so we continue to have that challenge, but of course, with social media and so now it's a bit easier for us because persons are advertising on social media, so we're able to see a lot of the businesses who are not registered and easier to find them. So social media has been assisting us. But we continue to reach out to these unregistered businesses and tell them, please come in and get registered. Don't wait until Inland Revenue comes out and fines you and charge you. The charge for operating a business that is not registered is 25, and you don't want to be charged. Recently, I think they would have announced a registration amnesty for barbers and hairdressers who've been operating. Of course, they had to come in to get the assistance after COVID, and you saw a number of them floating in. And quite a few of these businesses who recently registered, they were supposed to be in the tax net. They were supposed to be paying taxes already based on the income that they've been making, but they've been unregistered. Similarly, there are many businesses over there who are still operating and are not registered. There are some businesses who we already contacted. We probably tell them, "No, officers, business is not registered. Please come in and register." There are some businesses we actually dropped the registration forms for, asking them to register, and they have not returned to Inland Revenue. Of course, we've been taking note of those things, and very soon our officers are going to be back out in the field. And if your business is out there and you continue to operate unregistered, it's not a question of if you will be charged, but you will be charged. You will be charged. So I'm still appealing to businesses out there. Once you've been operating for more than 30 days and your business is not registered, please come in and get registered. The law allows you a 30-day grace period. So you can operate a business unregistered for 30 days, but after that period, you need to ensure that your business is fully registered. Again, the registration process does not just end at getting a tax ID. It also means now that if you qualify for VAT, that means if your business is grossing over $300,000 a year, then you need to be registered for VAT also. Again, touching on VAT, we still have some businesses in Grenada who are charging VAT to the customers and they are not VAT registered. So again, Grenadians, please be aware of these fraudulent actions. If someone is charging you VAT, ensure that they have a VAT certificate stuck up in their business that gives them authority to charge VAT, and ensure that they give you a receipt. And on the receipt, you need to see a VAT registration number. If you're not seeing that, do not let them charge you VAT. It could be from doing services. You might go to, I don't want to call names, but it could be for a professional service and they charge you VAT on the service. If they're not VAT registered, do not pay them VAT. Challenge it or report it to Inland Revenue and we will take it from there. There are still quite a few individuals doing that. So again, I always tell Grenadians, support the businesses who are doing what is right. Support the businesses who are registered. You might have some unregistered businesses, and the fact that they're not registered, they might be able to give you a lower price on something, a lower cost. Might even be for a professional service, but because you're not paying their taxes, they're giving you a lower cost. But think about how is that affecting the country down the line? Negatively, of course. If all our businesses who operate and if all our individuals who operate in ensure that they pay their fair share of taxes, then Grenada will be a much better place. We'll be able to do a lot more than we can right now with our current revenue streams.
To the idea of updating the registration, because I know in obviously, many businesses coming on stream, and there are some businesses that have not been properly registered. And maybe you have some. Let's talk a little bit about how important it is for Inland Revenue to have updated information.
Yeah, that is of vital importance. Over the years, we started basically trying a lot more to get current information for all our taxpayers. We still have some taxpayers whose email addresses would have changed years down the line, and we don't have their current email addresses, whose phone number would have changed in Inland Revenue, their business address would have changed, and they did not inform I.R.D. Of course, I'm going to remind you now that this is an offense. If you change your business name, you change your location, you change your address, you change your email address, and you never informed Inland Revenue, and then we are using taxpayer funds to send you correspondences, and you're not receiving them because you changed address and you never informed us, or we've been trying to call you on 441-11111, and your number changed to 442-2222, and we can't reach you, that is an offense. Based on the Tax Admin Act, you could be fined $50 for that offense. So I always inform persons that whenever you change any information, your business name changed, your address changed, your phone number, for me was when please inform us. Of course, we are trying our best to get updated information, but we rely on you, all taxpayers, to give us the correct information. So you might be listening to me now and you're saying, but you know what? The last information Inland Revenue had for me was when I lived at St. Andrews, but now I moved to True Blue or Lansapine. So if they're trying to reach me, they're not going to reach me. Even my property tax bills, I've not been getting them because I changed location. That's because you never informed us that you changed location. quite a few persons think that in the revenue we know everyone's business. We know every single thing. I wish we did, but we don't know that you moved. We don't know that you changed phones. So if you did, especially for our business owners, you change and you're going to get our information in your business, please inform us. You could do so by sending us an email or sending us a letter addressed to the Comptroller of Inland Revenue, or sending us an email. Of course, you might not be able to remember the email address if I say it now, so please visit our website. You're going to get our email addresses there. Send us an email and let us know if there's any change in your information. Similarly, for persons with simple property tax accounts, you may have changed a phone number or something. Please give us the information so in case we need to reach you, we could find you. Not just for reaching you, the information that you give us is also vital in helping us determine who you are. So, for example, my name is Joel Johnson, and I was recently made aware that there's more than one Joel Johnson in Grenada, of course. Years ago, when the population was small, there might just have been one Joel Johnson. But right now, Grenada, we have a lot more persons are working, so there might just be more than one Joel Johnson. So when I'm given Inland Revenue information, I need to let them know that, okay, I am Joel Johnson, my address is X and X and X, my ID number is X and X, my date of birth is X and X. So these unique factors will differentiate this Joel Johnson from the other one. So when Inland Revenue is trying to reach you, they will not be confused as to which Joel Johnson they are trying to reach.
And then you might end up sharing information.
And
Right.
we don't want that.
Right.
We don't want that.
Right. When it comes to property tax, what's the relationship between business registration and property tax, if any?
But yeah, there is a registration, there is a relationship, sorry, between property tax and registration. If you're purchasing property for the first time, that means you may not have a tax ID, we not have any information for you, so of course you need to be registered similarly. So if you're just buying property, there's a form that you need to fill out. I think right now that form is mandatory. Even if you're buying another piece of property, they will still ask you to fill the form. That way we just verify the information. So there's an individual registration form that persons who buying property has to fill out. Of course, it will ask you for your ID number, your date of birth, your home address, your mailing address, maybe where are you employed. We will ask you for that. Similarly, if you are a business or a company and you're purchasing property as a business, you too will have to make sure that your business is registered and follow the same prescribed form
So,
described earlier to ensure that your business is registered so the property can be attached to your business. So there is a relationship.
and for the persons who are have not they're not buying, but they say, for instance, there is a gift or a deed of gift or whatever, does that apply as well?
Yes, similarly. So if you were gifted some property from your parents or your grandparents, and that means now you own the property. Similarly, if you own the property, we want to ensure that we have information for you. We want to ensure that you have your telephone number, your date of birth, your ID number, etc. If you're a Grenadian, we normally require one piece of ID. If you're not a Grenadian, we require two bits of ID just to verify, and that is picture ID that we're going to have on our file so we could ensure that we know who you are. So when Ruth Roberts comes in, we could look at the picture and say, okay, that is your property. So then we could give you information on your property.
Fine, that's just for our own confidentiality and to ensure that at least people's business are kept within.
Yes, of
So it's
course.
for your own good.
It's for your own good, and taxpayers need to rest assured that the information that you give I.R.D. it stays at I.R.D. Our officers are, well, they have to be very confidential, so you can rest assured that your information will not end up in the public setting with your ID number or your date of birth or your cell phone number being out in the public. That's for I.R.D. And we have to ensure that security is of utmost importance in the business that we do.
My dear, you are quite resourceful. I just want to ask you one more question. What is I.R.D. doing to make it easier for new registrants? Because sometimes it can be a kind of tedious process. What can be expected?
We need to get it all the time. From being in that section, we have quite a few complaints, and persons complain that the process is too time consuming and too laborious, and they have to go there, they have to go there. We have been in talks, but based on how the laws of Grenada are, we can't eliminate the stages. You have to go to Kaipo, and then you also have to come to the revenue. But what we have been doing in the past is that we're telling businesses, okay, hey, especially in COVID, you don't need to come to inland revenue. You could download our forms online. You could scan your certificate. You could scan all the documents, and you could just email it to us. So you don't need to. I don't want to tell you the amount. I get lost. You could email this stuff to us. So I think this is what we've been doing. And of course, we're available for conversations. If you do get through with us on the phone, we could speak to you and tell you what is necessary, or you could send us an email. I get lots of emails. I don't want to tell you the amount. I get lots of emails on a daily basis, and I try my best to respond to them. Emails is range from persons asking a simple question. How do I register my business? What are the stages? What are the steps? How much tax will my business have to pay if I make X amount of money? So, persons, you are free to ask those questions. So, please send in your emails, send in your questions, contact us for help, and we are always there, willing and ready to assist you as best as we can. So, yep, to assist businesses, we were saying that you don't need to come in, and then download the forms, print them on your computer. You can scan them, email them back to us, and we will process the business registration. Of course, persons from the trial and state Carrico and BT Magnic, they know about that, so they will normally drop it at the office in Carrico, and then the office will mail it down to us, email most times, and we will print it and we will process the applications.
It seemed to me that COVID-19 again is kind of influencing a change in how we do business, and it's really working out for the better in a lot of cases. So even as we conclude, I give you a little chance to make some just some general comments based on what we've had so far.
Yes, Ruth. Thank you for the opportunity again, and it's always a pleasure to be here to talk in general, especially about topics that I'm very passionate about. Yeah, some persons say I'm passionate about taxes. Yeah, we ought to be, because without taxes, I probably just for an education. I can't get healthcare. I wouldn't have the police to take care of me. I wouldn't have roads to drive on. So taxes are very, very important. So yeah, COVID-19 has of course, sparked some changes in the business process. And I think not just for inland revenue, even many other divisions, they would have tweaked or changed the way they do business. And I think it is for the better. And quite a few of these changes, I could see them continuing as time goes on, because it does make the process a bit easier. So I just want to encourage our taxpayers out there again, remind you of a few things. If you operate in a business, ensure that your business is proper, free to contact, you registered, ensure you have your tax ID letter, ensure that you know your tax account number, ensure that you're filing your taxes on time, ensure that you get a tax advisory session. If you don't understand something about what your responsibilities are, please feel free to contact us. Send us an email, come and make a call. We can have a discussion with you, but very soon there will be videos online that you could always revert to for information purposes. Again, to the businesses out there who are not registered, I'm telling you, please, please, please come in and register your business. You know who you are. Don't let us come to you. You might just see me knocking on your door with a ticket book and charging you. It's not something that we like doing, but of course we have to adhere by the laws of the land, and persons need to do what they ought to do. Just this morning on my way here, I saw a business, and I know the officers would have visited that business in the past and given them the forms, and they're operating, and they're not ready to do. So do what is right. Be a corporate citizen. When Independence Time, you wear your national colors and you wave a flag. Proud Grenadian, I love my Grenada. If you truly love Grenada, you're gonna obey the laws. You're gonna be an honest taxpayer and do what you ought to do.
Wow, I love it when I meet a public servant who's that passionate about what he does. I really appreciate it. It's really encouraging. So thank you very much, Mr. Johnson. It has been an absolute pleasure really speaking with you. Viewers and listeners, if you've just joined us, you get a chance to see this program again on GIS Wednesdays at we've been speaking 8 p.m. We are on GIS Inside Finance, or you can contact I.R.D. ird.gov.gd, or Ministry of Finance, finance.gd, and we can share with you the information we've just had. We've been speaking with Mr. Joel Johnson. He's the Senior Tax Inspector of the Inland Revenue Division, and we've been speaking basically about business registration and the process. Hopefully the information we've shared with you will help you or someone else you will share it with better engage with the Inland Revenue for the benefit of your business and yourself, and also for the country. It has been an absolute pleasure spending time with you today. I am Ruth Roberts. This is Inside Finance.